Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic. So when did people in society become entitled jerks?
I don't know, but they're annoying.
It's like a plague now.
Plague is a great way to describe the dumbassery that is self-entitled asswads in our society.
Well, like, you've had numerous stories of entitled jackasses.
Oh, I had a great one today.
But this one today is vying for top of the rankings.
So we get a call from these people. And they're all pissed off because they're locked out of the house. And they say, we're locked out. You didn't provide us keys. You locked us out. What? Okay, whatever. Shit happens. It has happened before. I will admit this, really. So then they're like all mad, and apparently it had been 2 hours that they were locked out. Blah, 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 whatever. Okay, so we send over our cleaning lady because she apparently has a key. Her key doesn't work. Great. We send over a locksmith. And meanwhile, the cleaning lady calls me back, and she's like losing her shit in my ear because she cleaned the place on Tuesday, and it's all dirty, and she doesn't understand what's going on, and why is the living room all messed up? And the first thought that goes into my head is, we just hired a new handyman, and he was there fixing things. Maybe he made a mess. Okay, whatever. Possible. No. These guys that checked in at 3 o'clock, then made a mess in the house, then locked their own dumbasses out, and then proceeding to ask us for a full refund because they locked their own dumbasses out.
Yeah, and that's where the entitlement comes in, because no reasonable human being would ever think to go there. But they don't think there's anything wrong with lying because they're entitled to get their money back.
It took everything in my power to write them a nice response to their asking for a refund. And I said, I'm very sorry that you missed your museum time. However, we already covered the cost of the locksmith after you locked yourselves out of the space. At this time, we won't be able to provide you any additional compensation.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I could charge them the $109 for the locksmith, and I could fight that with Airbnb and win.
Yeah, especially since locksmith would testify that the key was found inside the apartment.
Right.
And their stuff was in there.
Right.
I mean, no reasonable person is going to assume that they did not check in when their stuff was inside of your place.
Correct. So they're dumb. They screwed up. And they can deal with it. I'm not sure I give a crap that they spent $250 on a museum trip, which, who does that? I guess there was 12 of them, so maybe. But why couldn't you just leave and go to the museum and let us handle the locksmith thing?
Yeah, you didn't need to be there.
Go away.
We get it handled for you.
Whatever.
But that leads me to, that's kind of small fry stuff right there. Then you got Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, one of the most powerful people in the world, and definitely one of the most powerful women in the world.
Oh, God,
and
what does she do now?
Goes to San Francisco, an area she represents, by the way.
Okay.
So fucking damn well that her staff has kept her apprised of the rules there.
Well, I would assume she lives there.
Yes.
At least part-time.
Her nephew is the governor of the state of California, if you don't think they're talking all the time. So she comes back, and she has her an assistant make an appointment for her at a hair salon. And, I'm going to tell you that I have no doubt that the person probably was doing one of those, I'm not supposed to, but because you're a regular customer, I'll do your hair.
Right.
That doesn't forgive what she did. Just because the hairdresser did something wrong doesn't mean she didn't do something wrong, because she should have full well known you can't open the shop. And she obviously knew. She wasn't expecting other customers. She wasn't even wearing a mask.
Right.
And that's where the
How
hypocrisy
did she get
comes
caught?
in.
Like, how did this all come out?
I don't recall, but there's video cameras surveilling the entire beauty salon because they've had problems in the past. And so she's trying to say they set her up by putting cameras in there. But the lady's saying, hey, I've been recording my business for 5 years, man.
Right.
So, but why?
I think she owes everybody in the state of California an apology.
Yeah, because you are a hypocrite when you're enforcing the rule.
Right.
That's like a flat out hypocrite. You're not, you do two things too. Like, okay, you want to go in there and have a mask on? Maybe I'll give you leeway because I believe the lady should be able to give you a haircut. I do. So I'll give you leeway on that. But if you're going to keep making me feel like crap because I don't feel like wearing a mask 100% of the time while I'm outside, I go by the guidelines. Dr. Drew said, CDC said 6 feet away. Dr. Drew said 12 feet away. I listen to Dr. Drew because it's a bit more conservative. So, hey, I figure the real answer is somewhere between CDC and Dr. Drew, right? I mean, that's just my guess. That's how things usually work, right? We always talk about this. It's never one extreme or the other because those suck. Always. Too far right, too far left, that sucks.
Right.
Find something in the middle, though. Maybe it's a little far righter than you go or lefter than you go. But you'll entertain it because, hey, it makes a little bit of sense.
Okay.
But this shit, like the name, it makes no sense.
It really doesn't.
And it's annoying that they try to spin it a different way. The whole thing is just...
It's annoying that she had the fucking nerve to get up in front of the media and demand that the owner of the hairstyle apologize to her for her making a fucking appointment and then going there violating the freaking governor's orders in the state.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nancy. You owe the rest of California an apology.
And she acts like...
Not the hair salon owing you an apology, dumbass.
Well, and she acts like it's okay for her to do that.
Well, of course, because she's above the law.
It's not okay for you to do it. Well, yeah, but don't you remember her saying no one is above the law?
She thinks she is. Donald Trump thinks he is. They're both fucking idiots.
That's what I'm getting at. They're all the same bucket of nuts, man.
They're all the same bucket of nuts.
It doesn't matter. You can reach into that bucket of nuts and pull one out. You're going to get Pelosi, or you're going to get Mitch McConnell, or you're going to get Schumer. Oh, God, if you got Schumer, you could have such a good time. Because he's the goofiest old man ever. He's a goofier old man than Donald Trump is. And Donald Trump is a goofy old man. He is. He reminds me of people I know who, like, 18-year-old waitress is there, and he's like 75, and he's like, oh, yeah, there's something else you could get me. What time are you getting off work? And you're like, dude, do you know how pervy and creepy that sounds? He's so
nasty.
Like, that's just creepy and pervy. That isn't how it should work.
But they're all these, like, self-important dumbasses.
Yeah.
And regular people vote for that moronicness.
Well, yeah.
Regular people. You're voting for a self-entitled person who doesn't want to follow the laws they're imposing on you.
And they defend the things that they both do that are stupid. Both sides do stupid shit. Some of it's the same stupid shit. But this one says that one did it, and that one says, no, that one did it.
And oh my God, I saw the thing I scrolled past it because I didn't want to read the dumbass comments anymore, but that Donald Trump won some kind of appeal thing about releasing his tax returns.
Yeah.
I'm like, who cares? Enough stories have come out from people who he's been shady with that he was a shady ass businessman. Get over it. If you don't like him, remove him from office.
But why does his past matter?
Right. As long as he's not being shady now, whatever. But he's probably is being shady now. But it has nothing to do with his tax returns and everything to do with he's a shady old man.
But that's the problem. They don't bother to find what he's being shady with now, which, to my way of thinking, is the most important thing. It's kind of like we've said before. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. That stupid, you ordered the thing for the hair for the bathtub.
Yeah.
And instead, what came was... What was it?
No, it was I ordered an oven rack.
Oh, you ordered an oven rack.
For
and
in
what
my
came
metal
instead?
pan, and instead I got a dumpling press.
A dumpling press, right. And so we told them it was the wrong item, and they immediately shipped us
the correct item.
And we were supposed to ship back the dumpling press.
Right.
And then the one day I saw we got charged for it, and I was like, well...
Guess we have a dumpling press
I guess
now.
we have a dumpling press. Now, from what I know now, we could have still returned it.
Which is what it is.
As long
we
as
already took it out of the
But
package.
it is what it is.
It was only $4.
My point is, you move past it, and you're just like, that's just a little bit of money that I lost there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to learn this next time around. And it just gets better and better and better.
Right. So why can't people focus on what he's doing that's shady right now, or what he's doing that's dumbass right now, like calling veterans useless and losers or something, like whatever he said today that he may or may not have said, because different people who were there say he did, and some people say he didn't. But whatever, focus on that, because it happened today. It shows his character as a 74-year-old man today, not his tax returns from 1942.
And no one cares.
I realized I went a little far back there. Maybe his tax returns from 1992.
Well, but no one cares.
Right.
I mean, or no one should care.
It's irrelevant. Sorry.
It's not going to change anything. He was elected president through the official rules.
It just makes people look petty.
And nothing was done wrong. It was just the rules are the rules. So he got more votes than someone else. That's because she was popular in a place like California and New York. So she built up 2 places, gave her this huge lead. And then the rest of the states, you just have to chip away at it. Because we all know our population lives in like maybe 5 different mass centers.
It's not a law where you have to provide your tax returns when you're running for president.
Right.
And if they think it should be a law, perhaps they should petition people for that.
Yeah, and make it a law.
But until it's a law, stop trying to take him to freaking court to demand it. Because you're dumb. It just makes you look like an idiot. Stop.
Yeah, it's very true. And it's
I've bashed both sides today.
And it's very clear. Well, but that's the point. There is no one side that is 100% correct. It drives my friend George crazy, and I think, because I refuse to just like get in a line and march like a little lemming. I have to ask questions along the way. And depending upon your answer and how big the issue is, I'm going to move forward a lot or a little. Or maybe go backwards. My opinion changes each step. And it bugs him that sometimes I think that I won't just be like, well, but if you're going to be this way, then you must believe this. Otherwise, it's inconsistent. But it isn't in my head. I can connect the dots. And I could explain it if anyone ever asked. So,
you know what?
I feel that's kind of a discrimination tactic in a way.
I don't feel like you have to agree with every single thing a specific political party espouses in order to be quote unquote consistent.
Right. And you know what? If you're libertarian and you believe 50.1% of what they believe, so that makes you kind of, I'm going to say I'm libertarian. Let's be real. You could be either side at that point. Any of those parties.
I live closer to libertarian than I live in other things, but not 100%.
And it depends on the issue.
Right. Right.
For me, I don't 100% trust anybody until I've checked them out. And even then, there's only certain people who are so connected to you that you can 100% trust. Only certain people.
Dude.
That's how I feel.
You are probably the person I agree with most on like social and economic and blah, 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 whatever issues. And I don't agree with you 100%. So how can anybody be expected to agree with a political party 100%?
Well, that's exactly it. And that's what I'm trying to say with, like, for us, it comes down to there are important issues, plural, and we agree on those things. And the lesser important issues that aren't our like top level issue, we look at the whole combination. Well, I feel this way about that, and they feel that way about that. But on this one, we're right in alignment. That's pretty good.
Well, like you and I, we agree on the crazy big controversial issues like abortion and immigration and things like that.
Yes.
But I don't think we agree on healthcare.
No.
Even close.
No.
And that's okay.
I'm not a fan, and you're a fan. Government intervention there. You are.
Yeah. But
You're
not a fan of how it acts right now. Healthcare here is like the literal worst system you could come up with. Because the government is like half involved, but not really involved, but kind of involved, but still mandating things. It's just ridiculous. Either stick your hands all the way in or pull them all the way out. Stop sticking a finger in over here and messing with things.
Yeah.
And sticking a toe in over here and stirring shit up over here. Stop it. You're making it worse. Yeah.
Well, right. I mean,
so we agree on that part of it anyway.
Well, and that's why, like, the AB5 thing, that's why we both oppose it.
It makes me so mad.
Because they're basically squelching people's ability to exist on their own. They're slowly turning it into, like, a socialist society.
That's why I saw that post from Sharon Quirk Silva. Because she voted yes on AB5. And I've been hassling her about it.
Okay.
And then she voted no to repeal AB5, so I've been hassling her about that.
No, it is the Democrats' pet
I know
bill.
But she deserves
because they're pushing us towards socialism.
Is she even the assembly person for where we live right now?
She might be.
Gotta find out, because I gotta hassle the right person.
Yeah, she might be.
Facebook would tell me if I asked.
It's easy to find out. Yeah, if you ask Facebook, they'll tell you. But to wrap it all together, you just have entitled jerks in society who think they can say and do whatever they want and walk away from it. But if you dare do the same thing, they pin you to the wall and try to light you on fire. That's entitlement. You're not supposed to do it, but I can do it.
Yeah. It was like a discussion I was having with somebody today when they wanted me to just bow down and listen to their opinion because they were clearly speaking in the name of Jesus. And I should just listen to them. Otherwise, if I don't listen to them, I'm a baby-killing nutjob.
Yeah, isn't that great? If you don't believe what I believe, I'm not even going to give you the chance. Look, dude, I'm not even going to tell you. I got this whole story back here behind my back. But I'm not telling you what it is until you tell me whether you're going to go along with me in the story or you're not. What's it going to be? And then that's how do you make that decision when you can't see where you're going? You're blind. It's
baby-killing nutjob.
Yeah, it's just dumb. Give people time to believe what they want to believe. Figure out the answers to the questions for themselves.
Yep, pretty much.
I mean, a lot of times it becomes pretty clear that there's only two answers, A or B. And there's other choices, but it's easy to be like, look, no matter what you do with those other ones, A and B are the only choices here.
Right. Yes. Yes, indeed.
And that's like, I feel, an interesting take on entitlement in society is that people they don't listen to the other person. They just kind of, here's how it's going to be. So if you're not with me, you're this giant jerk.
Oh my God. The people I like even better, they say their fact. Say their fact is like, the sky is green. And you ask them, well, what shade of green is the sky? And they go, you're the worst type of person in the world. And then they go all like savage attacking you. But they don't even stop to realize that you probably agree with them that the sky is green, or might even agree with them that the sky is green. And that you were just asking them what shade of green so that you could be more specific about their fact. But they go all savage. And it's just like, yo, I agree with you. Shut up.
You mean like the time we were at the Los Alamitos City Council meeting and that lady chewed up and down my legs and
Oh,
didn't even realize that we actually agreed with one another.
Yeah, she got right in your face too.
Yeah. But we agreed with one another. That's the worst part. And she didn't know. And you know why she didn't know? Because she never asked.
She saw that you were a white man and
In
decided that you did not agree with her. And therefore she was going to go full savage.
Yeah.
Because don't you know, white men are literally the worst.
According to what I've heard, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, I was born this way.
White women are a close second, but white men,
But you know,
I
was born this way. I don't have much choice in the matter. And I like to think of myself as a pretty reasonable, upfront, forward kind of person.
Also, I think you're kind of a shade of beige, not white.
What's that?
You're kind of a shade of beige, not white.
Yeah, that's true. And but the thing is, I don't have any ulterior motives because of why I think this way or that way. I think that in most cases, when it comes to a choice that an adult gets to make, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else directly,
the adult should be able to make that choice.
The adult should be able to make that choice.
Yep.
And I'm always going to fall on that side of the tree on that issue. Because that's how you treat an adult like an adult.
Because who the fuck are you to tell somebody else what they can and can't do?
Yes.
Exactly.
It's freedom, baby. That's what it's about. Freedom. And people don't get it. And they say, why Americans so big on freedom? But then you start to hear stuff like what she told us about the forced quarantine and like, wow. Just wow.
Yeah.
You know, it seems so controlling and totalitarian to just basically unilaterally go, kabam, this is what happens.
It's interesting because that's more controlling than something Canada is doing. But we've already established the government of Canada is more controlling than the government here.
Yes.
On some issues. But when you actually live fully in a society like that, you get benefits that kind of counterbalance. But like I said before, the problem here is that you're not getting any of the benefits when the government controls you.
But they pull this whole full-on socialist agenda as though it's the answer to the problem.
But it's not.
But it's not, because there's no perfect system. That's just a fact. There's no
Every
perfect system.
has its problems. But what's really a problem is when you take the dumb parts of two different systems and only implement those. And none of the benefits.
And force it on you. That's the thing.
We talked about healthcare once already. But you can have universal healthcare like Canada. Okay? Specifically Alberta.
Hold on, I need to throw up. Wait.
Shut up.
Okay, go ahead.
You don't pay anything out of pocket for basic healthcare in Canada. Or in Alberta. You don't pay like
define basic health care.
You can go to the emergency room. You're not going to pay anything.
If you
see your doctor.
What if you totally like snapped your arm in 3 places and you needed to have surgery?
No cost. Where you would pay a cost is if when you were recovering from surgery, you wanted to upgrade to a private room.
What about the anesthesiologist?
Paid for by your universal health care. What's not paid for by your universal health care is the prescriptions after surgery. Interesting. But your shit that you get in the hospital is paid for by your health care. But here, you're required by the government to have health insurance that covers nothing and costs you out the literal ass.
Well,
because they've tried.
You have summarized it very well. And that's what I wanted to ask you was like, when you tell me that you could break your bone in multiple places, have to have surgery, and it's all paid for, you're still, you're paying money out of your pocket. You are. Because it's coming out of your paycheck. Every time you get a paycheck, that money's coming out for that. And that's
paying
okay.
The same taxes here.
That's okay. That's okay. It is what it is. That's how they do it.
Right.
But, I may be opposed to that concept and think that they shouldn't be collecting taxes and that we should just pay it ourselves.
Correct.
And choose whether we do or we don't. And then if they want to fine us because we don't, well, let them. I mean, that's their prerogative. I mean, again, freedom.
You know what's interesting? Okay, Alberta, you're getting a paycheck. They're taking out money in the form of just regular income taxes that cover your health care. Okay. But When you go to the hospital for your broken in 3 places arm, or my mom who had to go to the hospital for a blood clot in her lung and stay there for 4 days, or my dad who's now had 2 major surgeries in the last 6 years, they haven't paid anything extra for that other than all the money they paid in taxes previously when they were employed people. Now they're retired and old and crazy.
Yeah.
But
That's what I'm
here,
saying.
they would be forced to have the insurance mandated by the government. It'd probably be Medicare now because they're older, but they'd still have to pay a copay for that surgery.
It was like when I was when I had to go in the hospital the time when I thought I had food poisoning initially and they sent me to the hospital. I had been paying between $500 and $600 a month, closer to $600 a month for the insurance. Okay. And I had to cover the kids because she wasn't working. So I had to cover the kids. She was responsible for herself. We did not, So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I paid for this expensive coverage and then I had to go into the hospital because it wasn't food poisoning. They thought that I had something wrong with my gallbladder, and then they discovered that was fine, but that I had pancreatitis. So I was in the hospital for 4 days with all these drugs and IV and all, nursing care and etc. And don't forget that I've paid
$50,000 bill.
I've paid like $8,000 in premiums for the year to now have to use it.
Right.
And you got to pay a $12,000 deductible first.
Disgusting.
And then we cover it 80/20.
Disgusting. It's
I mean,
disgusting
it's like so then you pay the $12,000. So let's say it's an $80,000 bill, right? Now you owe $68,000, okay? And then they'll be like, all right, well, and here's 20%.
Yeah.
We're going to take 20%. Well, now you owe kaboom all of this money.
Oh yeah.
And they just rip you off.
If you would have had the same pancreatitis living in Alberta, your entire stay would have been completely covered.
Well, and that's why I say you've kind of convinced me on that point.
It's got to go one way or the other.
I still don't like where it has to come from to get paid for. I don't understand why it couldn't just be mandated, all right, and then you pay it. Because what makes it a tax is that they take it out of your check to pay for it.
Right.
And they shouldn't do that. They should make you give them a check to pay for it.
It's one of those things that needs to go one way or the other. It needs to be full elevated health. Dr. Matt, we've shopped around and found the best price for our primary care physician in the area, and we're paying that because he's excellent and he only costs $75 a month. Or it's got to be the full other way, where the government is just covering this and taking it out of your taxes. You either need to let people shop around and have a free market, or you need to provide
none
them
of
with
this
basic
crap
care.
in the middle.
This crap in the middle is dog shit, costing people thousands of dollars a month. Dog shit.
And then like on top of it, you think you're covered like that. You do. You think you're covered like that.
But you're not.
But you're not.
No.
And even the other thing is, the only thing that's bad about your system is that when people travel, they're not covered. In our system,
Correct.
People are covered just at a lower rate. So if it was like 80/20, they might do 50/50.
You can buy supplemental travel insurance and be covered.
But you don't have to buy that with our system.
If my parents came here and had a medical issue, they would have to pay 100% out of pocket for all of the costs.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. At the
didn't have
escalated crazy person rate that is here, because nothing is actually free market.
Yeah.
What's interesting is dental care is fairly free market in both places. There's dental insurance. It's basically useless. But there's dental insurance.
It is basically useless.
But my mom had to get a root canal and crown in small town southern Alberta, and she paid like $1,100 total for the process. My root canal and crown were $1,350 in metropolitan Southern California. That's pretty reasonable difference.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Considering everything is more expensive here than there.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Right.
And let's not forget that there's an exchange rate there.
Right. So hers would probably be more like $900 American versus our $1,350.
Right. So there actually is a bigger difference.
Rental of a house there is like $750 American, where here it's like $2,800.
Right.
So, like, there's obviously quite a bit of increase here. But healthcare or dental is quite interesting because the price is
It's very, very,
similar in North America.
Yeah.
But then
I
people go
agree
to
with
Mexico and they get their root canal for like $50.
I agree with you on that. But that's kind of the point, though. It kind of goes back to the whole, once again, all the way back to entitlement, because we feel like because we live where we live that we should get this and we should get that. And I say we earn it ourselves. The government doesn't hand it to us. We decide. And we had the episode where we talked about how you can take society's services, decide which ones you want to use, and then pay the bill as you do it.
Right.
You got to give me your credit card. You gave me your credit card. Okay, as long as your account is open, this is how much per month I'm charging you.
Right.
Oh, no, that's what for that, you're going to get these things, these services from the government. That's how it should be. But not this bullshit. We'll give you what we want when we want, but we're going to keep taking.
Now, full disclaimer before we wrap this up. I used Alberta as my example because I know 100% how the healthcare works there. I cannot say it's the same for the rest of Canada. I know some provinces in Canada do pay an additional yearly health insurance premium on top of the taxes they pay from their check.
And that's problematic.
Those provinces make less money because they don't have giant oil. So
yeah,
just saying.
And that's kind of where we're headed. What's happening is a particular party decides in each state, whoever's in control, what their health care plan is going to be.
Right.
Because there is no mandate at the federal level. So the states can make up as lenient or as strict a rule as they want. So.
Yep.
Interesting. Very interesting. I'm glad you talked about your crazy lunatic tenants.
On that note, good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.